Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Control Room Podcast. I honestly forget which number this is. It might be 102, but we're here to talk about the downfall of the mighty Lakers and the play-in tournament and a whole lot more. I got my guy Raffi joining us, and Ramiro should join us any second. But Raffi, I gotta pose this question to you before Ramiro pops on. Do you give Ramiro 5 minutes or 10 minutes before he starts bashing the Clippers? And lets out all this frustration. How long do you think he'll go before he brings up how the Clippers have never won a championship and blah, blah, blah? Because the Clipper hate is going to come. So how long till Romo starts taking shots at my Clippers?
So we're going to put an over-under on it, right? I would say if it was at like 5 minutes, I would take the over on that.
Really? He is no way. As soon as we start talking Lakers,
I think he'll last 5 minutes.
As soon as we start talking Lakers, he's gonna quickly pivot.
Let me text him real quick. Hold on.
Don't text him. Don't text. But I'm about to text him because he needs to know that the party has started. But you know he's got to be fashionably late. You know that's who he is.
Well, it's a fine line when you start talking about, the Lakers as a Clippers fan, because there's so much hate there on both sides.
I love the Clippers. I love the Lakers. It's the best show on TV. I'm going to miss it.
You are going to miss it.
Yeah.
Mike, the whole NBA loves the Lakers, and the whole NBA wants the Lakers to succeed, because without the Lake Show, the NBA is not fun.
Well, I would disagree wholeheartedly with
That's
that.
Fine.
I do agree that the Lakers are big business.
Yes.
And it's a global brand. LeBron James, as old as he is still the face of the NBA. So yeah, ESPN was pushing real hard for the Lakers. I think Kendrick Perkins posed at the beginning of the season, could the Lakers win 70 games? And then midway through the season, everybody's like, why are you panicking? Wait for AD to get back and wait for this person to get back. And then it became like, oh no, this team was never good enough, which was hilarious because it went from being a super team to like LeBron has no help again, which I mean is always the narrative with LeBron James. But before we get into my LeBron spiel,
we'll get into that.
Oh, I need to ask you, are you watching Winning Time on HBO?
Winning Time? Oh no, I haven't started watching it.
Really?
No. Yeah.
Really? I'm surprised.
I mean, as you know, I did have a little boy.
I don't know if the Control Room podcast viewers know.
Don't know. I had a little boy.
Thank you. His name
is Alex.
That's right.
And
so Alexander the Great.
Alexander, and he's been taking up a lot of my time. But it's on my first to watch list. It's that, and then so I'll probably start watching it maybe sometime later this week. Have you watched any of it?
Hold on. If our viewers could see the educated, the eloquent, the sophisticated look Ramiro is bringing to the Control Room podcast,
I don't see him.
You don't see him?
Hey, fellas.
There you go. Do you not see this man?
Oh, there we go.
I don't know who this guy is.
What's up, Romo?
Look at this professor.
It's tax season, fellas.
Wow, this guy is... I was not expecting this look right here.
Just call me Clark Kent.
Okay. Well, Clark, great. We were just discussing Winning Time. Raffi isn't caught up on it. He hasn't started yet, but you're caught up on it, right?
Yeah, man. 2 words. Spencer Haywood.
What? Okay.
Can we talk about your ring for a second? What is up with that ring? What is that ring?
I just wanted to remind Mike that the Lakers won a championship just 2 years ago.
Okay.
Just a friendly reminder, that's all.
Why are we talking about 2 years ago? We'll talk about what's going on right now.
Because I know where this conversation is headed. I just wanted to establish that. We won a championship 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome that 2 years ago in the bubble, you guys won the Disneyland Summer League Championship. That's great. But let's talk about, you guys.
Why don't we get into it, Mike?
Yeah, you had like a lot of Laker news today. You fired your coach. Well, actually, has he been notified yet? We knew before he knew he was fired. That was kind of weird. Also, Russ said He doesn't understand what Frank Vogel's issue was with him. He said he wasn't allowed to. They said let Russ be Russ. He said that never happened. And what was the other thing he said? Ross, we were going over this. Let me go through my notes. So there was 3 major points I wanted to hit on with Russ. Oh, he was never given a fair chance. So Laker Nation, take it away.
You want to take this, Raffi?
Go ahead. I'm going to let you start, Romo. Go for it.
All right. Let me be the first to say that we want to thank Mr. Vogel for his services. Okay.
That's very nice of you.
He was a big part of this championship.
Okay.
Otherwise referred to as the bubble championship by Laker haters.
Is that what it was? It happened in the bubble, so I mean that's factual. It is.
As it may,
there is an asterisk by it, so it's fine.
Be that as it may, it is a championship nonetheless.
Are you filibustering right now? Like, what's going on?
I really wish that Vogel would have been treated better on the way out.
That's not what you were saying in the DMs, Romo.
I mean, hindsight's 2020.
Okay.
Sometimes we forget that the man, delivered a championship to us, so
don't forget that.
Yeah, you just reminded me. Now you're saying sometimes we forget.
No, I'm saying it's so easy to forget, but every coach at one point needs a fresh start. It happens to the best. The Pat Rileys of the world, the Phil Jackson.
After one bad season?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just a bad season, Mike. How could I put this? When the Lakers failed to make at least a play-in game, it felt probably how it felt for Spencer Haywood when he self-circumcised.
Whoa.
But wait, I don't want to ruin it for Raffi.
He hasn't seen it.
I want to ruin it. I'm sorry, Raffi.
Come on,
I haven't seen it yet.
Come on,
I don't want to
man.
ruin it for Raffi. You're right.
That's okay. You guys can talk about it.
No,
okay.
That's not something you want to talk about.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just say you might want to skip episode 5. But yeah, man, it felt like a kick in the pants, because there was a lot of talent on the roster. However,
there was talk of a super team. Remember that?
Yes, but it was not a good fit. It was not a good fit because, you have a bunch of stat patters. Okay.
One big one.
You have a coach that is known for his defensive prowess. And let's be honest, man. I mean, when Anthony Davis went down, there went our interior defense. I mean, people were scoring at will.
I thought LeBron James could play the 1 through the 5, so why was that happening?
Listen, it was a valiant effort by Mr. James. But at the end of the day, he's not a center. I mean, he can do it one game, a la Magic, in the finals versus the 76ers. And he can do it one game, but during the course of an 82-game season, especially when you're almost 40 years old, that's going to take a toll on you. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, despite LeBron's numbers, which were magnificent, considering his age. I mean, had he played the final 2 games of the season, he would have been the scoring champ. He conceded that to, Embiid because he's a class act. Oh. And, LeBron figured if there's nothing to play for, then why even suit up? But we all know who the scoring champion was this year, and that was Mr. LeBron James.
Well,
but I digress.
Raffi, he said a whole lot of nothing there. When we're talking about Russell Westbrook, what happened this year?
Well,
why didn't this work?
That's exactly who I was referring to when we talk about obsessed players Russell Westbrook has single-handedly diminished the triple-double. I never thought it would be possible for someone to have a triple-double and have it be a bad thing. Because what we forget is we look at the turnover column, and most nights he was turnovering that ball a whole lot. And it obviously hurt us a lot throughout the season. He kind of got better at the end of the season, a little more careful, but at the beginning he was careless, and that cost us, man. It cost us a lot of games, and he's a stubborn guy, don't get me wrong, great athlete, but at the end of the day, what has he won? Nothing.
Interesting take. Raffi, please jump in here. I'm curious what your take was on this Lakers season as a whole.
Well, okay, let's backtrack to what Romo said, right? You said you were talking about LeBron, and you said about the 2 games that he didn't play. All right. So what did you say specifically? You said if there's no reason to play, something like that, right? He didn't. That's why he wouldn't. What would Kobe have done?
Well, see that's the problem we run into as Lakers fans.
That's an easy answer.
Rafi, it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic to compare anybody to Kobe because he was one of one.
Well, LeBron's supposed to be better than Kobe. That's what.
But people are ranking LeBron over Kobe. But anyways, that's just the one question I had. We all know the answer. The answer is that Kobe would have got his ass on the court and played. That's number one. So
you
that's
really
just
think so, Rafi? If there wasn't any chance of making the playoffs,
when he tore his Achilles and he went on the free throw line and he shot both the free throws, and he said that I thought that this would help us better win the game if I went out there and shot the free throws. But anyways, that's besides the point. To recap to Mike's question, I would say there's a little bit of blame everywhere. First of all, I don't think that the coach has majority of the blame here at all. I agree with you, Romo. I think that he got the short end of the stick. That the first thing that the NBA does right now when things are not working is they fire the coach. So we see that happening over and over again. It's happening with all the teams. So that's number one. I don't know if he knew he was going to get fired or not. I know I saw the interview from yesterday's game after we won. He said that he didn't know. He said he's just focusing on the win and all that good stuff. So if we knew before he did, yeah, that's messed up. But I think the Lakers organization right now is going through some more changes. We're used to winning. We're used to really good basketball decisions. We're used to, getting things right. And you know what? We just don't. It's not all the time that we get everything right. So I would put the blame on this season. It's not only on Russ. It's not only on the head coach. It's on LeBron James. Yeah, it's on everybody. I would definitely put LeBron up there for blame. I would put a big majority on him because first off, he did assemble the team. He gave the approval to get Russ. The second thing is our main guys didn't play together more than 21 or 22 games.
Lots of injuries.
LeBron, AD, and Russ didn't really play together for more than I think it was 1/3 of the season they didn't play together. So there was never a rhythm found. So we don't really know. I mean, obviously it didn't work, but we don't really know the full capacity of how good this team could have been. If I were to guess, I would say it was not going to work out because it's not meshing. I think we need more role players. I disagree that we have stat patters. Is that what you call them? And you're talking about
mainly Russell Westbrook,
Russell and LeBron, right? Obviously. I don't know who else you meant by stat.
I would differ on LeBron.
It was just a dig at Russ. That's all he was doing.
Russ, okay,
you know what? Because if LeBron was a stat patter, he would have played those last 2 games, and the narrative would have been that he cared more about the scoring title than he did about making the playoffs. So it was kind of a catch-22. It was kind of damn if you do, damn if you don't. because I know that if had he played those last two games, I know Mike would have
like, please play.
Would have pointed that
Please
out
play.
and said, "Oh, he's selfish. Look at him. That's all he cares about."
So do you
you
think
know what?
that
At the end of the day, there has to be a fall guy, and that fall guy is sadly it's Frank Vogel.
Yeah, but that's just not the case, though. It's not his fault at all.
No,
I mean,
I'm agreeing with you, but there has to be a fall guy, and
he's
usually the guy.
But on LeBron, though, first off, I hope you know that that's the only thing he cares about left in his legacy. I hope you know that he really doesn't care about any more championships. I think that it's pretty obvious that the only thing he wants done now is to become the highest scoring player ever. And I think that in his mind, that's going to stamp him as the GOAT, which is, in my opinion, not true at all. So, but if you want to talk more about Russell Westbrook, Mike, I'm down.
Yeah, no, I was waiting. I got the Laker takes out the way. Maybe get an outside.
Real quick, I just wanted to say it's been like, 10 minutes, and Romo hasn't brought up the Clippers yet.
No, Romo won.
Look at his shirt, Raffi. Look at his shirt.
Yeah, I saw it. I was trying to perk it up. We had a little over under bet for you for 5 minutes for you bashing the Clippers, and man, you just bash Rush instead. Congratulations to Romo. But look, from an outsider's perspective, non-biased, of course, I'm not biased. The team was assembled with a bunch of Hollywood superstars. No one wanted to do the dirty work. Who became like the favorite players towards the end of the season? Austin Reeves, a Stanley Johnson, a Malik Monk, like minimum Bradley, what's his name? Defensive player, Avery Bradley. And
why didn't we bring Mac McClung up earlier in the season?
Promo, because he's not an NBA player. That was a charity case. But anyway.
What? Did you see that last
dunk? Congrats again. Hollywood, glitz and glamour. Like that doesn't make a team, Romo.
I would gladly give Mac McClung Kent Bazemore's minutes. A lot of the guys that we had. Hey, Trevor Ariza's minutes.
Oh, we're bashing Trevor Ariza now. Remember when it was like just wait till Trevor Ariza gets back? Remember that? Remember Kendrick Nunn and all this? But anyway, listen.
He didn't. He didn't find the fountain of youth, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit a mute button for Romo. Just listen. The team construction was terrible. If you look at the Phoenix Suns, you got Booker, you got Chris Paul, and you got a bunch of young guys, Crowder. You got mix of young guys and vets, because you need the young guys to get you through the season because vets need to rest. They got aches and pains, all of that, right? You look at the Milwaukee Bucks, you got Giannis, you got, Holiday, Holiday's fringe all-star, so is Middleton. You got like a Brook Lopez just came back. You got PJ Tucker. It's a good collection of guys who are stars and guys who are role players. LeBron just loaded up his friends. And my guy Carmelo, he showed out this year. But then you got Dwight Howard, you got DeAndre Johnson, you got
going to give Carmelo a pass?
What you want him to do? Hey, Carmelo can't play a role. Hey, Carmelo can't come off the bench. Carmelo was playing his ass off. Y'all still catching L's. I want him to be in Brooklyn next year. But my thing is this, it's all about roster construction. You look at my mighty Clippers. You want to talk about injuries, Kawhi Leonard ain't played a game this year. Paul George has played like 30 games this year. We're out there with Terrence Mann and Amir Coffey and Zubac, and we got more wins than y'all. So the real thing is we got a great coach who, guess what, the players believe in. And y'all got a championship coach. You got this quote unquote GOAT, best player of this generation. And you got Mr. Triple Double, and you're basically 20 games under 500. Y'all self-imploded because you had no leadership. That's why y'all lost.
You know what? I will say this. Ty Lue has done a hell of a job considering all the injuries that the Clippers have had. Part of me wishes that we had hired Ty Lue a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I know that Monty Williams was also
interviewed
by the Lakers prior to signing Frank Vogel, but we got one championship and then it fell apart, and that's fine. The Lakers will bounce back. Listen, we made some moves. that really were counterproductive. Kendrick Nunn. I mean, he was on the bench the entire season. He contributed nothing. So part of the blame to me is got to go to Rob Pelinka, because he constructed this team.
LeBron James constructed this team.
Come on. Oh, I mean, of course, LeBron has a say so, but at the end of the day, Rob Pelinka pulls the trigger on the moves that they make and they don't make.
Okay.
And
that's not what Magic said.
And come on, Mike. Look, at the end of the day, Pelinka agreed. Okay. He thought that it'd be a better idea to bring Russell Westbrook, even though that,
Let's
according
talk
to
about
Magic,
Russell Westbrook.
They had a possibility of bringing DeMar DeRozan and Buddy Hield.
Why are you pretending like LeBron James didn't make that happen? Like LeBron didn't say, "I want Russ."
No,
because the
like
management
Raffi
wanted
says,
Buddy Hield.
No, but I agree with Raffi. There's plenty of blame to go around. I mean, no one is innocent of this. Everybody has a little bit of responsibility. But I'm saying, at the end of the day, the guys who decide, all right, who they're going to bring in, Rob Pelinka, at the end of the day, I think he's getting off scot-free. Frank Vogel becomes the fall guy, and Pelinka is just sitting back, and he's not really catching any heat for some of these moves.
Pelinka's on the court, not playing D?
Come on, man. Mike, okay, that it's very important. Okay, you have the greatest architect in Jerry West, all right, working for you guys. A brilliant mind like that can really determine the direction that your franchise goes in. As much as I hate to say it, the Clippers, are headed in the right direction. I mean, you're not going to win a championship, but at the very least, you're competitive.
Yes, we will.
You're well coached. You have an identity, which we lacked. I mean, if we're being honest, we lacked an identity the whole season.
Remember when you guys went 0-6 in the preseason and you thought it was a joke?
You can't really read too much into the preseason sometimes, but in this case, it was a sign of things to come. But chemistry is very important in sports. We all know that. We all played organized sports. Chemistry is important. And
Clippers have a good team.
Yeah.
I actually saw them. I went to the game last week against Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and I hadn't been to a Clippers game in, I don't know, ever, maybe like once before. So it was nice to see like a hustle. It sucks that it wasn't a competitive game until the end, where they almost gave the game away, because Phoenix decided that they wanted to bench all of their starters, which sucked.
Yeah.
And the game was
That
free
was
for
after
me.
they
So in case you're
eliminated
wondering,
the
I didn't pay to go, so I was free. Which you can't get for a Lakers game.
Yeah,
You have to pay a lot of money to go to see the
Raffi,
Lakers.
you cannot admit to paying for Clipper tickets. Never.
No, I mean it was free tickets, Mike. I mean, this will never change. It's however much the Clippers think that this is going to be Clippers town and all this stuff, Mike, you can go to the Clippers game for free. And the Lakers, however much they suck, they're going to be the hottest ticket in town. With that being said, hold on. Let me just finish my point.
For the people.
Let me finish my point. Oh, this year, so one good thing, which I feel that all of these decisions, whether it's Pelinka or LeBron, whatever the case is, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Jeannie Buss, because she knows when to drop somebody. Period. So she's made harsh decisions in the past. So if it's time to drop Pelinka, she'll do it. If it's time to drop LeBron, I think she'll do it. If it's time to, you know what I mean? Like she's not her father by all means. Nobody's gonna be her dad. Her dad was an amazing owner. She dropped her brother. That's like the biggest one. It's like, all right, if you don't get it done in this many years, you're out. And I think I have faith in her, and I really do. We'll figure it out. I'm not too concerned, but I think, Mike, you want to talk about Russ a little, or no? Do you want to talk about Russell?
We already talked about Russ enough. He was never going to fit.
Okay.
I said that a long time ago. I would love to talk about the other teams that are actually relevant in the NBA now that we got all that Laker garbage.
But my question about Russ is, you said he doesn't fit, but I have a question. Is he going to fit anywhere? Because people are talking about like he got exposed and, we saw what his true colors are, but I feel like he has a fit that if, that's my current, I don't think he's that bad of a player. He didn't do well for us. And I think that the spotlight was on him most of the time. And I will say that it sucks because he kind of got, there was a lot of pressure on him and he closed. He did not do well. He was brick house. He shot at a terrible percentage. I think it was like third worst percentage in the league and whatever the case was. But still, though, I don't think that Russell is a terrible basketball player. I don't think he's as bad as people are making it seem to be. He's just, it didn't fit, but I think that he can find the spot.
I don't think he's a winning basketball player unless he tweaks his style. He needs to be more adaptable. He needs to take less threes, take less shots, be more of a facilitator, rebounder, to focus on defense. Like Russ is still a freak athlete. It's not that he can't contribute.
Exactly.
But like given from his comments today, I didn't get a fair shot. I don't know what Frank's problem was with me. He's delusional. So I don't think he'll ever change. And I think that's what's always going to hold Russ back.
He should come off the bench. I think that's where he's headed. I think the next signing, if he goes to like a really bad team, he's going to start. But if he goes to any decent team, which obviously, like if the Lakers decide to trade him or whatever that happens, in my opinion, I think he should come off the bench, and that's the only role he has left to play in the league, and to bring that energy off the bench. So anyway,
I think he should stay with the Lakers, and y'all should run it back. That's my honest opinion.
No,
sure.
Please, no.
All right, can we talk about some playoff basketball now?
Let's do it.
Good grief, man. We got bogged down with all that Laker garbage. All right, so we got the play-in tournament. We got the Clippers playing T-Wolves tomorrow. We got Pelicans, Spurs, whatever. Like those teams are irrelevant. East, you got Charlotte. Charlotte, Atlanta, and Brooklyn and Cleveland. Jared Allen for Cleveland's going to be out that game too. Like Cleveland's falling apart. They lost Mobley. They lost all their bigs. So hopefully Brooklyn just runs through them. But how you guys see the playoffs playing out, and who do you want to see in the finals?
At the beginning of the season, we did a pod, and I picked the Warriors. But I since have changed my pick. Phoenix is on quite a run. I mean, when you think about the fact that CP3 was out for a considerable amount of time, and no one's talking about Devin Booker being an MVP candidate, which I think is unfair, because what Devin Booker has done in CP3's absence is pretty miraculous, man. To me, I know this is going to be sacrilegious for me saying this, and I know Rafi's probably going to disagree, but if you ask me, of the players in the NBA right now, who comes the closest to Kobe Bryant as far as mentality, I would say is Devin Booker. Devin Booker, let me tell you, man, he's very underrated. I don't hear anybody talking about him being the MVP, and he should be in that conversation. So my pick in the West has changed from the Warriors, because Klay Thompson just is not adapted, man. He's just, I watched a lot of Warriors.
He just had 41.
Yeah, I know, man, but he hasn't been very consistent.
He has been out for 2 years, right? It's two seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And on in the playoffs, you got to be consistent, man. You can't give me 40 one night and then completely disappear the next night, because in the playoffs, that's just, it's not going to work. And I think, the Suns have been the most consistent team all season. So I am now changing my Western pick to
That's fair.
Suns.
Okay, yeah. Let's all do the West.
Yeah. So, you're gonna do us, as I was gonna actually say that I'm for once in a long time, I'm actually a little more excited to see what's going on in the East.
Okay, well, that's fine. You
Yeah.
do you.
I'm just like, okay, obviously the Lakers are out, which might play a little bit role in that, but I really want to see what's going to happen with this Brooklyn situation. I like, the last podcast we were talking about the trade with
Harden and Simmons.
Simmons, yeah. So I want to see them in the playoffs. I want to see Miami, how they're going to do, and obviously Boston and Milwaukee. I mean, we don't talk about Giannis, but he's also like an MVP as well. It's Embiid, and then Giannis. Those are the two candidates for MVP, but obviously Booker's up there too. And
what about Jokic? Don't forget Jokic now.
Yeah, Jokic is the reigning MVP.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm excited to see what happens in the West. I'm gonna have to go with Phoenix because they just look like they have the best team overall. They have great leadership. They have great coaching. And then they have the players. I mean, you saw what they did against the Clippers later in the game without their starters, and that just shows like they really want to, and they really want to win. And so I think that they're going to take it in the West.
Yeah, I mean, we had our pod a few months ago. I, picked the Suns. It's nice to see you've joined the party, Romo.
I came around, Mike.
I picked the Suns, but the thing about the Suns is, as a former Clipper. And has his other history. Chris Paul gets hurt in the playoffs. Like that's just
he does.
I swear it happens every year.
Houston,
like I said, Houston. I'm sure back when he was with the Pelicans, like Chris Paul gets hurt every year, and so like that's my only thing. But like you said, they did play well without Chris, but that was against playoff caliber teams in the Western Conference. So that's my only thing with them, man. Like I'm actually rooting for Phoenix because I would love to see Chris Paul get a championship, put that bow on his career so people can stop giving him shit. He's the best point guard of this generation, period. Booker, like you said, a lot of people don't appreciate him. I wouldn't compare him to Kobe. That's an idol of his. I see more Brandon Roy in his game than Kobe. He just doesn't have the athleticism that Kobe had, and defensively, Kobe was like first team all D.
I see that
all the time. So I see a lot of B Roy in Book. But like I said, I love their coach. I love their system, and that's the thing. That's not to talk about the Lakers again, but like you said, Romo, about having an identity. Like they have a system to where if one person goes out, somebody can fill in. Like that's how basketball works. Same thing with the Warriors. They have a system. Clippers now have a system. If you don't have a system, if you lose a major piece, then your team's gonna look like shit. So, I respect them. The East, like you said, man, that's a whole other thing, man. Like I think if Brooklyn can get to that, kind of like with my Clippers, they can get that 7 seed, and like if we can go against Memphis and they can go against Boston, we know if they get the 8 seed, I think they'll go against Miami. So I think Brooklyn will actually be the favorites in either one of those series. But I'm like you, I want to see Ben Simmons come back for a second round matchup against Philly. So I think was Philly maybe like the 4 seed. So yeah, maybe I'm kind of rooting for Brooklyn to be that 8 seed, even though there's no way because they're gonna smack the Cavs. I would love to see that series because, in my opinion, Philly's going out early and Doc Rivers is getting fired. That's a take for me.
Yeah, I think coming out of the East, Milwaukee is going to be the team to beat. The Greek Freak has improved just every season. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable, man. I mean, I honestly don't see any of these teams, Brooklyn, Philly, Boston.
Brooklyn had them down 2-0 now.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, I don't see any of these teams being a threat. I don't see anybody stopping the Greek Freak. Who is going to stop the Greek Freak?
Brooklyn was up 2-0 on them when Kyrie was playing.
Mike, but you know that in the playoffs,
that was in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know, Mike. But what happened at the end, though?
You mean when Kyrie got hurt and James Harden was playing on one leg and it went 7 games?
Hey, look, man. Injuries happen. You can't, look, Milwaukee to me is the far superior team. I would not be surprised one bit if they win it all again.
Well, of course.
Mike, who do you have coming out of the East?
I don't know. I mean, if I had the gun to my head, yeah, Milwaukee is the favorite. But if Brooklyn, if they see Brooklyn like, and Ben Simmons comes back and he gives them like, because he's like working out now. So if he gives them like 15, 20 minutes a game, like,
come on, man.
man.
Any team that's relying on Ben Simmons to come back is not going to win a damn thing. Come on, man.
Is Kevin Durant still the best player in the league?
Yeah.
No.
That's interesting.
Greek Freak has taken that status.
But he's taking that status how? Because Kevin Durant's teammates all got injured. James Harden literally quit mid-season. Like, what are you talking about?
Look, man.
We can say the same about LeBron, by the way. LeBron did get, I mean, his main guy got injured, and
yeah,
that's true.
Same could be said.
I'm glad. I love it when people bring this up. Yeah,
I know.
And KD and the Nets are in what, 7th place, and the Lakers are in what place again? Oh, okay. So one guy was able to get this team still in the playoffs, and the other guy's team is
two guys
out of the play.
He had Kyrie.
Oh, he had Kyrie. Part-time Kyrie. Come on, man. Part-time Kyrie. He couldn't play the home games.
You know what, man?
I mean,
but part of me feels that this team sabotaged Frank Vogel, man. I think towards the end, they just were tired of playing for Frank Vogel.
Hold up your ring again. They're tired of playing for the guy that got him the ring.
I don't think so, man.
They seem to give up. They give up on him for whatever reason, because I know that he preaches defense, and let's be honest, man, a lot of the guys on our roster aren't exactly known for playing defense. I mean, with the exception of AD and LeBron, at this later in his career, he's not the same guy that used to play on both ends. You can't ask a 37-year-old.
How we start talking about LeBron again in the Lakers? Listen, hey,
I'm just
Zuma's about to kick us off anyway. We gotta wrap it up. But MVP, who you guys got?
MVP, I gotta go with the Greek Freak. Yeah, but I do hope that Devin Booker's at least in the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Raffi, who you got?
I mean, it's really hard. I want to say Greek Freak, but I'm not. The only reason I'm going to go with Embiid is because he has stood out quite a bit this year, more than other years. And I think he does deserve it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Greek Freak, but I'm going to go with Embiid this year.
I'm leaning towards Embiid, but I know there's like a strong push for Jokic, and there's like a battle going on between like the analytics community. And the big men for sure, but the analytics community is like a lot of the advanced stats are like pro Jokic, and there's been a huge debate about like, are people relying too much on advanced stats? And like my quick take on advanced stats is that's for people to go on talk shows and pretend like they know what they're talking about. But also advanced stats, in my opinion, are for the players where it's hard to measure their impact. For example, Austin Reeves, to where he comes in, he plays hard. His role isn't to score or really be like a main distributor, but he has an impact on the team. PJ Tucker, those role players who are irreplaceable, and they don't show up in the traditional box score. I think that's where advanced stats are key. But when you're talking about Embiid, Jokic, Greek Freak, Book, Luka, etc., like you can watch the damn film and see, is what they're doing impacting winning? Like winning is damn near the last thing people talk about sometimes when it comes to MVP. It's advanced this and advanced that. Advanced numbers are good for role players and guys under the radar. The superstars, man, if you can't tell who's who, man, I can't help you.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Can we end on a good note? Laker Nation, Luol Deng is finally off the books.
I saw that. Finally, now we're gonna start paying Westbrook after we release
Right.
him.
After
So
you
we'll see how
guys
that goes.
release
Yeah.
Westbrook, he'll be on the books now.
He'll be on the
good,
books.
good news, Laker Nation. You guys are
Yeah.
doing
By the way,
it.
we skipped over another really good up and coming guy who I'm excited to see in Memphis, John Morant.
Of course. I mean, there's so look, dude, there's
so much hype around him.
Well, there's so much of that Memphis team in general. That's another team where it's one superstar and a bunch of guys who just play their ass off and like that.
Two superstars, no?
Who?
Well, Cat. Hold on.
No,
I'm sorry. No, my bad. I'm getting Minnesota. Sorry, you're right. One.
My thing
I
is,
get those two mixed up.
What I'm
By the way, Mike, you guys are gonna have your hands full with Cat.
Hey, you know what? That reminds me. Another guy to where other fans hate him, and advanced numbers or whatever may not be for him. Patrick Beverly is a culture changer. Okay, I miss Patrick Beverly. He's on the T-Wolves.
Stop it.
I'm not happy to go against Pat Bev.
Stop it.
But guess what?
Where is Kawhi Leonard?
You said that with a straight face.
3-on-3. 3-on-3. He's doing.
Where
3-on-3.
is Kawhi Leonard?
He's doing 3-on-3. He's loading right now. That he's coming
gonna
back.
Play?
He's coming back.
Is he gonna play in this playoff?
We gotta get to the first round.
You really said Pat Bev on this pod.
I miss Pat Bev every day.
Pat Bev's a very important
first
player,
team
man.
all defense. First team all defense.
What? Usually that's when we run out of time.
Listen, I love
when Mike brings up Pat Bev.
Hey, I guarantee you wish you had Pat Bev on these sorry ass Lakers. Guess who? Guess who have been playing hard the whole year? Hey, if you could have Pat Bev,
Mike.
If you could have Pat Bev or Russell Westbrook next year, who would you rather have?
No. Let me ask you a question, Mike.
You don't answer.
So when is HBO going to do a series on the Clippers? Was it going to be called Losing Season?
See, this is when this is what I was waiting for to start the pod. He just saved it towards the end. So kudos to him. He mixed it up. They're actually doing something on Donald Sterling, the Sterling tapes or files or something like that. So that'll be happening. But hey, look, Clipper Nation. We got a great coach. We got a great owner, great city, great players, great fans. We're taking over. Time's out.
See you in Cancun, Mike.
Time's running out, guys. Hey, thank you for joining. We'll win next year. The Suns are going to take it this year. See y'all later.
Cancun, 1, 2, 3.